Morning. Today is Wednesday, August 30th. I just came back from another bout of fighting the sidewalk. And turns out what really works is acetone. Nothing else works. You put some acetone, you wait till it evaporates, and then you put it again. And then you just use the wire brush. And I tried the my fancy new grinder. It's not as effective as the wire brush, but of course it's way easier. The wire brush is, man, I'm trying left hand, right hand. But anyway, everything is going well, so I'm almost done. Like I have 5 big squares that had to be cleaned, so now only 2 is left. Everything else looks good. So we're good. Anyway, the good news is that looks like I got a job. Of course, I already have a job as a freight broker, but it's kind of like very slow in getting started. So I was looking for something to do part-time on the side. And if you remember, I mentioned before, I was talking to a lady about, she posted a job looking for a part-time car photographer, right? And they looked at my resume, they were interested, they sent me some questionnaire. Okay, I did that, I passed. You have a car? Yes. You have a class 5 driver's license? Yes. So I can drive to locations, right? Do you have a 24 to 70 millimeter lens? I said, no, but when you hire me, I'll buy one. And so then I did the test, right, where they said go and take pictures of your own car according to our sample. So you have to be very specific, which way so it's pretty detail oriented work, right? So you have to know where the sun is. Let's say for the interior shots, they want the sun in the back. Otherwise, of course, I didn't know this, so when I was shooting the interior and the sun behind me, and you can see my shadow right on the seat, and it blocks, like you cannot see clearly, right? So, and basically there's a lot of training that's gonna happen before Monday. And so I did all that according to the samples. Yeah, so the wheels have to be turned left in this shot, they have to be straight in the other shot, and then the steering wheel have to be in the specific position when you take a shot of the dashboard. So basically you had just to demonstrate that you can follow their samples. And so there were 20 samples, and they said please take 20 pictures as close to our samples as possible. So I did that and sent them over the pictures. Didn't hear anything for a couple of days. I thought they would just say forget it, this guy's an idiot. And then I see an email in my box, and it says the photos look great. So the next step is we need take care of some legal stuff. And so they asked me for my driver's abstract, and I still have one. What did I do it for? I was doing it for something, but it was like June 30th, but she still accepted it. And I even I gave her a driver's abstract from Ontario, right? Because I said I just moved in October from Ontario, and usually they're looking for like 3 years, right? And so I sent her also my Ontario driver's abstract, dated I think like September or something. Oh yeah, I was doing that one for my insurance company when I thought my insurance would renew, right? When I did not know that I was getting out of trucking. And so I sent her the driver's abstract, then asked me for the criminal record search in Canada. So I had to pay like $55 online. So she sent me to a special website that provides this kind of service. And yeah, you basically fill out your information, your name, when you were born, your address, your social insurance number, and then you pay, and then it says sent to the police. So your inquiry is sent to police headquarters. They check it, and a document comes back like no records found, right? And so I sent her that, and then she asked me for a copy of my driver's license, and she asked me for a copy of my car insurance. Okay, and then last but not least, probably the most pleasant thing, they asked me for a copy of my like a void check, and they say they pay once a month, which is not good. So basically there's like a month delay, so you bill them, because I'm gonna be independent contractor, so you go shoot all these cars for a month, then you create an invoice, and then you pay them, and they take up to 30 days to pay, which is, of course, I'm not used to that. Because if you remember, when I was in trucking, I always used factoring companies, I really like that when, let's say, I deliver a load and I send invoice, if I send the proof of delivery and my invoice to my factoring company in Mississauga, Ontario, if they get it before 10 a.m., I see money in my account around 2 o'clock. Because I think they were not doing a wire transfer. The main account was at the same bank as the bank I'm using, and so all they had to do was just send the person to the bank, probably around lunchtime. I'm guessing she would go to the, or he would go to the bank, do the deed, and then go for lunch, right? That's how they usually do it. And so they would just transfer the money inside the bank from their account to my account. So it's not a wire transfer, it's a regular transfer from one account to another. And so usually it's immediate, right? And so I was super happy with that arrangement, except of course, they charge me 5%, but you get money like this, you don't have to, keep notes of who owes you money. You don't have to wait, and also using their website, you check the credit worthiness of your broker. Like when I was a trucker, right? So, and quite a few times there would be somebody that I check their credit on the factoring company's website, and it says basically everything is red, like it was all color coded. Like green means they approved automatically for 5,000 US, and if it's yellow, it means it's up to the representative to decide. So then I had to call them, and then 50% of the time they would say, yeah, okay, we can give them. How much does the load pay? So, okay, 10,000 Canadian. Okay, we're good. And then other times they would say, no, these guys on average do like 60 days. So that's what they are, basically they look at how many days it takes for the factoring company to get money from the broker, right? Because I send them the invoice, so they pay me, and then they send their own invoice to the broker, right? And of course now they're getting that 5%. That's the whole business. So they make 5% on each transaction, right? And so if somebody keeps them waiting for longer than 30 days, they get nervous and they don't like that. And so there's quite a few, kind of like bad brokers that I had to deal with. And so my butt was protected, like I know a few instances where people were, they were kind of like making fun of me that, oh, this guy is factoring everything, he's an idiot. And then they would deal directly with the broker, and then the broker would disappear, or the company goes bankrupt, because they didn't check, you did not check properly. Like here, because the factoring company is very interested in dealing only with honest people, right? Because otherwise they won't get their money, right? So they already paid me. And so I don't know, I think it's yeah, you lose 5%, but they act as your credit check bureau, they act as your accountant pretty much, right? Because once I send off the invoice, that's it, I can forget about that load. That's it, I'm done. As soon as the load is delivered, let's say quite often I would deliver in the morning, right? And on the night before, I would prepare all the paperwork. And let's say I deliver at 8 o'clock Eastern time, right? And I would quickly use my phone to scan the signed bill of lading, and I already have the invoice on my computer. I just open my laptop, start the internet, send everything to the factoring company. Like I said, if it's before 10 a.m., 2 p.m. I have the money, same day. So I was super happy with that. So, and I only mentioned that because of this arrangement with this company. So I hope they're not gonna throw me under the bus, right? Because of course one concern is that I never worked with them before, so maybe they're gonna use me for a month and then disappear, right? So, but it's not like a full day job. It's basically, from what I understand, is they send me a training. Like now, how I know that I'm hired pretty much is because yesterday we did the document, the legal stuff, right? So I send them everything, driver's license, insurance, criminal search. And so everything was quiet, and then this morning I open the email and I see the a message from that lady, and there's a bunch of attachments, and one of them is basically how to download and install some kind of app for your smartphone to read VIN on the car. And then there's another document, how to resize images for submission, and then how to submit images to the headquarters, because of course everything is, I think they're in Ontario, so everything is done through the internet. And then another document is a specific procedure, how to take pictures and what exactly they're looking for. So it's very detailed. So basically it's like a template, right? They created a template and you don't vary from that one. So actually that makes it easy, but of course a bit boring maybe after a while, because you only do this specific shots of just cars change, but the photography stays the same. So yesterday I met with a friend of mine who immigrated from Ukraine last fall. We just went downtown, and on the way there I picked up a new lens, because that's what this is my Nikon Zio Z6 Mark II, and so now I have 24-70, but it's a f4, so it's a cheaper version. So this one is only $1,300 Canadian, whereas the f2.8 version here costs $3,100. And a funny story with that is that I found only one lens in Calgary. Like I went to one shop, one store online, then another. One store had an open box. I just didn't want to get open box. You never know why they returned it, right? And then I went to the website of London Drugs that also sells photography equipment, and found one brand new lens about 20 clicks away from me, northwest of Calgary. And I tried calling them, trying to reserve it so that I don't drive in vain over there, right? Because just one in the inventory, it can be just a mistake, I know from my days when I myself worked in retail. So one on the computer, that's nothing. So I tried calling them, they don't pick up the phone, and they don't give you an option to reserve. And so what I did is I bought it through their website. I paid, and then I chose the option pick up in store, right? And I got the confirmation email saying that, yeah, my order was received and now it's being processed. And they advised that there'll be another email when the lens is ready for pickup. And I said, I already paid, I have confirmation. So I drove over to the store. They cannot find my order. They say there's no order. She brought out the lens. She says, this is the lens. I showed them my email with the order number. They say, no, we don't have it yet. So I had to call the head office. So the lady standing next to me with the lens, I had to call the head office. And turns out, because it's $1,300, they kind of like usually call the customer to make sure, to verify. And so I called them, and the guy asked me for the order number. So he found it on their computer, and he just wanted to confirm my address. He says, what's your name and what's your address? So I give him my address. He says, okay. And then he basically released the hold on that order. And so the lady in the store was able finally to see it, that yeah, it's done. And then at the same time, I got the email saying that my order was ready for pickup. And so it took like, I don't know, half an hour trying to figure all this out. And so finally they gave me the lens, and I drove over downtown to meet my friend, and so we had a good time. And in other news, of course, the big news of today is that nasty storm in Florida that left many people without shelter and energy, electricity, right? We don't have that in Canada. So I searched for some news to tell you about, and one that caught my attention was this. It says 5 million bees fall off a truck on Guelph Line in Burlington, Ontario, so which is pretty much the area where I used to live. So some guy was moving a trailer, like a small trailer, with a pickup truck. And so they were probably unsecured. And so police were called around 6:15 a.m. I think it just happened today. Halton Regional Police says officers were called to the area around 6:15 a.m. to respond to a truck with a trailer transporting bees. And they say, we're not sure how or what exactly took place, but at some point, the boxes containing bees or beehives slid off the trailer and spilled all over the road. 5 million bees. And so police called local beekeepers to help them collect all these, dozens of boxes. And of course there were bees all over the place, and some beekeepers, they say they were stung. And the trick was, one guy says, one of the beekeepers says, the trick is to identify the queen. And he says, get the queen bee, and then if you get her inside a box, other bees will follow. But how do you identify a queen among 5 million bees? It's just like a crazy accident. And so the police say that they cleared the scene, but they left some boxes because a bunch of bees got away, right? And so they left those crates open there in hoping that they will return, and then they're going to check on them in a couple of days. And so they're asking people to stay away from the area in order to avoid, being bitten or stung. And they say, yeah, cars are okay as long as you keep your windows up. 5 million bees. And so the driver was charged with 2 offenses under the Highway Traffic Act, including insecure load. So he had all these boxes on this little trailer, and he probably didn't secure them, well enough. And maybe, sometimes it happens, the strap falls off, right? Became loose because the boxes shifted. And so that's what happens. So boys and girls, always secure your load. So, and that's it for today. Thanks for watching.